Staying on the subject of the women and the women's division, why don't we talk about Alexa Bliss? Now, she had a pretty interesting moment of bliss segment on Monday Night Raw, but before that, WWE decided to do a spot backstage where, she had a little assistant bringing her coffee and he's knocking on her dressing room door, knocking repeatedly, saying, "Alexa, are you in there? I'm coming in. Here I come. Here I come." And he doesn't hear anything. And as soon as he opens the door, Alexa Bliss is in the middle of getting dressed and she's topless and she's got her shirt or her blouse covering her chest. And she was like, "What are you doing in here? Get out of here." And then that was it. They went to commercial and it was the most random ass thing ever. I have no idea what the point of that was. It didn't make any sense because the poor guy is saying, "I'm coming in." He's knocking repeatedly. "I'm coming in. I'm coming in. I'm coming in." And Alexa Bliss doesn't say anything. And then she acts pissed when he walked in on her. He's like, all you had to do was say, "Give me a minute," or "Lock the fucking door," or "Don't come in." All you had to do was say anything like that. And she didn't. And then she acts all mad. And when you take into consideration what they're also doing with Mandy Rose on SmackDown, she showed up in a towel last week on the stage. And then this week on SmackDown, which I'll talk about here in a little bit, she's trying to ruin the marriage between Jimmy Uso and Naomi, giving Jimmy her hotel key and dressing in lingerie. And a lot of fans are wondering if WWE is kind of going back to some of these risque type of segments. They might be, but they've already kind of done this too. Lana was involved in similar situations with Enzo. They did something in a hotel room, didn't they? Eva Marie, I think, had a wardrobe malfunction prior to one of her matches, and she was very much viewed as a sex symbol, and they always had her dressed provocatively backstage and shit like that. So I don't know if this is really that much different than stuff that they have already done, but it did have that feel of what they would do in the Attitude Era a lot. How many times was Sable walked in on with her top down, or any other diva or woman in the company at the time? Terry Runnels was always showing her tits or doing something like that back then. And WWE, they don't really portray the women like that anymore. Back in the day, anytime a hot woman would come out there, number one, Jerry Lawler would be having a goddamn stroke, puppies, puppies, and freaking out. The fans would be whistling and catcalling. The women were on the show primarily as sex objects, and that was it. It is not like that anymore. That's not how they're portrayed at all. And when you look at the women on the roster, there are some smoking hot women on that roster. Think about if you would have had one of those 1998 Attitude Era bikini contests with Alexa Bliss and Zelina Vega and some of these beautiful women that are currently on the roster. I mean, what's that gif of Vince McMahon when Stacy Keibler's dancing for him on the table and he's going cross-eyed and he's falling over backwards in his chair? That's what I think of Vince McMahon doing when I think of some of the gorgeous women that are wrestlers currently in the WWE. But unlike back in the day, they're not viewed as just tits and ass. They're not viewed as valets. They're not viewed as eye candy. They're viewed as legitimate professional wrestlers who should be taken seriously, and that's good. But maybe WWE is having trouble resisting the fact that they have a roster full of gorgeous women and they can't use them, or they're not using them really in any sexual type of way. So maybe this was just a way to realize that a portion of their audience are still the 18 to 34-year-old horny male, and they would like to see Alexa Bliss with her top half down. Now, I don't think you really need that to increase ratings anymore. I mean, back in the day, sex was a very big part of the ratings. Those bikini contests back in the Attitude Era, they would get crazy numbers in the Nielsen ratings. I don't know if you really need to do that anymore. WWE, I think, recognizes the fact that they have a ratings crisis and the ratings are as low as they've been in years. So maybe if they're trying to incorporate a little bit of sex appeal onto the show, they think that will help. But as far as it not portraying the women in a good light or anything like that, as long as they don't go overboard with it, I don't have any issue with it. Number one, I thought Alexa Bliss being topless on Raw was out of place and random and felt completely awkward and weird, and it was pointless completely. But at the same time, I don't really have that huge of a problem with it because these women, they know they're gorgeous. Have you ever seen Alexa Bliss's Instagram page or her Twitter page? She has plenty of pictures on there of herself in a bikini. All the women do. They all look sexy. They all look great. They all dress provocatively on their social media, and a lot of them do in the ring as well. And, if you want to look at the other side of the coin, ladies, for those of you listening to this commentary, would you like to see a segment where Seth Rollins is walked in on as he's taking a shower and he's just got a towel over his dick, or some other guy like Drew McIntyre or Elias or another one of these sexy beasts that all the women love? I mean, would you enjoy that? I'm legitimately curious. Would you like to see something like that on Raw? Do you think it has a place? What do you think? So for me personally, as weird as I thought the Alexa Bliss topless spot was, I didn't really think it was wrong or WWE was being too salacious. Compared to what they used to do in the Attitude Era, this is fucking kindergarten shit. I mean, you had Mark Henry hooking up with 80-year-old women and transvestites 20 years ago. If Alexa Bliss is topless for 5 seconds on Raw, I'm not going to start freaking out and thinking that WWE is going back to the gutter. I don't think the women are ever going to be treated like that again. It's going to be interesting to see if WWE follows through with this at all, and if we start seeing more of this on a regular basis on Monday Night Raw. If every single week there's going to be some little sexy spot like this. It might just be a ratings ploy. Who knows what they're doing? But after reading all of the comments on social media and a lot of the fans' opinions on this situation, I'm pretty much in agreement with them. I kind of get what they're saying. Some people are fine with it. Some people feel exactly the way I do. And what I've read so far hasn't even been that bad. Nobody's really freaking out about it. Most people are just kind of like me. They're confused about it. You know what I mean?